Hello everyone, welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. We're previewing the November meeting at Cheltenham. We are going a little early here, so we're before Saturday decks. We've got Friday decks. We'll be focusing on Friday and then the big races on Saturday and then any Sunday bets as well. So we do have all 3 days covered, but we are Friday in the main. That's just because what time affords us when we can actually do the podcast. So here we go with Friday. A reminder to like, follow, subscribe wherever you're listening, however you are getting this content. Best no-cost way of supporting all of our content across all platforms and all sports. Remember the bonus code POD50. You can get up to 50 quid in free bets when you bet £50. The T's and C's are on the website. They'll also be on the screen as well. There it is. So take advantage of that if you want 50 quid in free bets. Matchbook are sponsoring the Punchestown card tomorrow. You're going to see a lot more Matchbook sponsorship across races, which is great. That's what the card looks like, including the Matchbook betting podcast, 3-year-old hurdle with 7 in it tomorrow, 1:35. I'll be in Racing TV covering that. Soft to heavy as well. The chase course is heavy at Punchestown. They've had some rain over there. We've got some coming here as well, which is no bad thing. But Matchbook are sponsoring just about the entirety of that Punchestown card tomorrow. It's sure to be competitive, so check all that out. You can see it all live on Racing TV. All right, in we go with Friday. This is the 110 first of all. We're just going to go right the way through in race card order. 2 mile 5 handicap hurdle. It's just you, Steve Jones. So take it away with your selection in the Cheltenham November meeting opener.
Yeah, it's a conditional jockeys race, and we've got a very informed jockey on my selection, which is Bective Abbey, trained by Nicky Henderson, and his conditional jockey, Freddie Gordon, who's the son of another trainer, Chris Gordon, who's been in good form. And Freddie Gordon rides Bective Abbey, and this is a horse that is fairly unexposed. It's clearly had a few issues with breathing in the past, but they didn't seem to stop him when he won on deep ground at 4 Slats back in April. Last season was a bit hit and miss for him, but he's only had 5 starts. He tried chasing last time out. That was in June at Southall when he ran okay, but I think he's a very strong stayer. Small fields aren't his thing. I think this is going to be an ideal sort of race for him. He tried 3 miles last time in a small field. I think 2 mile 5 on what is going to be soft ground. It's going to be horrendously wet through Thursday night into Friday. I'd be amazed if the ground didn't turn soft. In the area it was torrential rain last night. I'm surprised that the track isn't a little bit softer than the official going. I think is currently Wednesday lunchtime is good to soft, good in places. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't properly soft ground through the weekend, especially Saturday, because it's going to rain all day Friday. But it's going to be very soft at this meeting, in my opinion. And I think that'll bring in the stamina that clearly Bective Abbey's got. So with an informed jockey and the right kind of setup to test the stamina, I think Bective Abbey's got a good chance in what's a wide open race with the big field.
Thanks, Steve. Welcome along to everyone that's getting involved on the chat. Lots of people obviously talking about State Man, which is a great shame, who's out for the season. If you're just picking up that news, what that means for the division, give us your selections as well on that chat, and I'll read some of them out. Anything you like in particular for the November meeting at Cheltenham. Right, next up, we've got the Veterans Handicap Chase. It's not the biggest field. Steve and I agree, which is quite scary for quite a lot of the selections on the Friday. Sorry about that, Steve. But Matt, you can come in first of all on good old The Real Deal, who's got a good old backstory, but must line up here with a half-decent chance.
Yeah, as you say, good backstory. He's now with Philip Rothwell, and in his youth, he won the Grade 2 Moscow Flyer novice hurdle. Classy horse. He's off 134. He's been in good form since switching stables. Beat Gaelic Arc off 125 in a 22 grand first prize race at Killarney in July over 2 mile 1. He was then 5.5 lengths second to Coming Up Easy over 2 mile 5 back at Killarney off 130 in a listed handicap in August. The winner's going to the Paddy Power on Saturday for Henry Bromhead, and Drill Deal was 8 lengths clear of the third, who's won a couple of points since. He had a run over hurdles, but he's now down into Vet's company off 134, and that looks a good mark in Britain for a fit horse. He was in form and was rated 143 18 months ago. He's been running through the summer on a sound surface, but as Steve's mentioned, it looks like it's going to be pretty soft ground with all this rain that's already come and is due again on Friday. So I agree with what Steve says about the testing conditions being likely, and his best form was on soft and heavy in the past. So if there's a lot of rain, it shouldn't inconvenience him. I think it gives him a decent chance against these veterans. He's about 17.0 in early betting, so he looks decent value at that sort of price.
Steve, I thought Fugitive off a good bit lower than when running in the Paddy Power last year. Must just have a right chance. He's very solid here. I don't know what you think about conditions. If it was very testing, maybe not ideal. But I thought the horse was a pretty solid favourite in this sphere.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a problem with soft ground at all. To be quite honest, I'd be more worried about Gunsight Ridge on soft ground, given it's 2.5 miles, and I don't think he really sees it out. So that's the one I wanted to take on. Eldorado Allen is a horse who stays a lot further, but is he quick enough for this? And Mr. Coffee never wins, does he? So I did come down on Fugitive, and I thought, given that his form was a little bit disappointing last season, that might be a bit of a bigger price. But I suppose it's a process of elimination, and he did run well. He does run this course very well, which is a big positive. He was third in the December Gold Cup run over a similar track over this sort of course and distance, even though it's on the other course, if you know what I mean. But yeah, he's got a good record at the course and distance, and he should be ready first time up. So that was the obvious one for me, because I don't like a lot of the others.
Mihal DC says, the real deal, the Jam Man and V Dancer, all ex Ronan McNally horses, run this weekend at Cheltenham. That is a good spot. Get the treble up. Good spot there. Dylan says laying John Bon on Friday. And Tom takes the piss us putting up Fugitive. So there you go. The 3 mile 1 novices chase. Steve, we'll kick off again. I respect Wade Out, whose win did come on a sound surface, but has one on soft. Leave of Absence's success came on a sound surface, but I do feel that you can often get a horse who wins in October here, who's then underestimated coming to the November meeting because it's a better meeting and it's a better race. But I was, impressed enough with what the horse did last time, proven over the distance. I know that he's got to give £3 away, but I'd rather go with what we know at 4.0 than what we don't about the rest, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, the key point with Leave of Absence is the stamina. He's clearly a very strong stayer. And although Pied Piper was running all over him, turning for home at Cheltenham, Pied Piper did what Pied Piper does, which was a bit surprising to me that everyone, or a lot of people who backed Pied Piper, was surprised he did that. But hey-ho. But Leave of Absence, a very strong stayer, and I thought that was a very promising performance from a nice horse who's pretty uncomplicated and is likely to be ridden prominently, and if not from the front. And I wanted to take on Wade Out because I thought that win at Worcester last time might just flatter him a bit, because even though he promises to stay 3 miles on what could be testing ground might be a totally different scenario from Wade Out. And it just looked to me that Wendigo, who he beat at Worcester, who's a very nice horse, was just having a first run of the season over a distance that was too short for him. So I wanted to take on Wade Out, and a Leave of Absence, I think, will just go out and make most. If he has to make the running, so be it. Then I think he won't be headed.
Matt Toombs, who do you like?
I like Isaac Desobo. Just picking up on the point you were making, you're right in the sense that often punters at this time of the year want to go for the flashy horses in this sort of race who haven't run yet or have good form for the previous year. And those sort of horses who've been running through the summer or second season novices tend to be under bet in this. And the stat is that horses with 3 or more chase starts, 8 from 41 this century, 45% profit. The only 2 of those are Leave of Absence, who Steve makes a good case for. I like him. And Isaac Desobo, just at a slightly bigger price, I sided with him. And I definitely echo what Steve said about Wade Out being a favourite to take on. Agree with what Steve said. And the thing I'd add was he politely got you could say, got the better ride when mugging Wendigo last time, who was travelling very well. and then not ask for his effort until after the last. So that step up in trip might help, but he does look as if he's being forced into better class races that he might not be good enough for. So I want to take him on. Isaac Deslow's got lots to find on the ratings, but as we know, ratings don't tell us too much in races like this. And Paul Nichols says he was one of his who wasn't right last season. Paul's got a good record in this race. On 5 of the last 14 renewals, none of them went off shorter than 3.75, and 3 of the 5, Ibis, Blackhawk and Vicente, were second season novices like Isaac Deslou. So he looks quite ground versatile, and in an open race at about 7.0, I'll go for him.
All right, the Fleur then, now in its sort of traditional home, I guess, on the Friday, which I quite like. Matt Toombs, John Bond, discuss. How are you approaching?
Yeah, I've kind of gone round in circles a little bit on this. I was thinking about putting up Liberty Hunter, who was about 9.0 and is now in the post-deck price, they've come through about 6.5, which is probably right. I just think that John Bond is the sort of horse now that everyone wants to get. And on the early sports books, he's 8 to 11. I just wonder if he's going to drift out towards even money 2.0. And if he is, then I imagine I'll be backing him. But it is a race I'm going to wait and see. And this is a really good guide to the Champion Chase. Runners are 6 from 26, 68% profit since it began in 2009. And a shameless plug for my new racing TV column, which will be out later today. But I've gone into why Cheltenham's 2-mile chase course provides such a different challenge from the other courses that host open Grade 1 chases around the minimum trip. And the big difference is that there's so much jumping early on at Cheltenham. The fourth fence comes after just over 20% of the race, where it's normally sort of 35 to 40% those other courses. So there's a big reward for horses who can get into a rhythm early on. And that's what that would be the worry about John Bond, is I think that this course has knocked him out of his rhythm a little bit in the previous runs. But he's so much better than these that unless the ground gets really desperate, and if it went heavy, that would be a worry. But I suspect that if he gets out towards 2.0, I'll be backing him.
Yeah, I had an interesting chat with Aidan Coleman once about John Bond. He was so adamant that Cheltenham wasn't his course, and it really came to pass in the Champion Chase itself. And I'm not necessarily out to get him here, but I thought you look at last year, he beat Boot Hill Steve a length and a half. I mean, Loda Sud is a real rival, and I think there's just too much between them at the prices. So it's not like a lay John Bond back Loda Sud, but it's in Loda Sud's camp, definitely at 5.0.
He's yet to run out of novice company, but he was pretty good last season. And I don't think it's any secret that John Bond does run below what he's capable of at other tracks, especially Sandown, when he gets to Cheltenham, albeit that you wouldn't mind a record like his at Cheltenham, 6 starts, won twice, and been runner-up in the other 4 occasions, including in the Champion Chase. You'd probably take that. But with a horse like John Bond, who is the best 2-mile chaser in Britain, certainly, that is disappointing. And the fact that he's had a breathing operation as well over the summer, the first one he's ever had at 9-year-olds, just about to become 10, I think that's a little bit of a concern. He is the horse that he's had quite a lot of racing in his career. Is he going to be as good this season as he has been in the past? I don't think he's going to be better. And Nicky Henderson's horses, for me, just maybe needing a run, some of them. So that may be another reason to take John Bond on at short prices, especially if he's odds on. And Loda Sud was certainly a promising novice chaser last season. He wasn't beaten very far, 4th in the Arkle. I think we can give him a pass at Aintree when the ground was just probably too quick for him. And the rain that's arriving, they'd be absolutely ideal for Loda Sud. And one thing you can guarantee with this horse, Dan Skelton will want to make a mark early season to prove that he's up to this sort of level and then kick on. So I don't see him as a horse that's going to improve for the run, especially with the Skeltons going so well. And looking out the window here, it's absolutely lashing down again. So I do think it's going to be soft ground. I can't emphasize that enough.
Tom says Loda's still overrated. Stop trying to take John Bon on. Dale, John Bon won this twice, so Cheltenham isn't the jinx as many think. But we can definitely agree that he is less effective at Cheltenham than other tracks, because he is. I know he can win there, but he is. 3:30, the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. Matt Toombs.
This used to be one of the strongest novice hurdles run anywhere before the Cheltenham Festival. After the Albert Bartlett was introduced 2004-05, it was one of the key guides in the early years. First 6 Albert Bartletts, 9 from this race took part, 4 won, and 3 of which were beaten here, which shows how strong a race it was at the time. The world's moved on. Most of the best novices are in Ireland now. The Albert Bartlett winners aren't starting as early these days, and Hyde runners have 0 from 39 the last 15 festivals. It's hard to gauge the strength of novice hurdles at this stage of the season. This one might be one of the stronger Hydes of recent years. I think it looks quite a decent race. My hunch is that last season's champion bumper was a weak renewal. 7 of the 9 runners who've debuted over hurdles this season have been beaten. Heads Up was one of the 2 that did win. He was a 33-1 chance in the bumper, having been beaten on 3 of his 4 bumper starts before that. Had the run of the things out front, slowly run renewal. Think he might have been a bit flattered. He beat a subsequent winner when making a successful hurdles debut at the Listowel Harvest Festival. But I'm not sure how good that form is. And there are lots of promising types here. And he's a short price favourite. A few I like will only have been well touted from Gavin Cromwell, but he won from 58 in the last fortnight. And he is a streaky yard. So that's just about enough to put me off. No Drama This End's another bit of a hype horse this autumn. Paul Nicholls put him up as a star quality horse in the Racing Post Stable Tour. But the large hurdling debutant to win this was Champion Court 15 years ago. So I've ended up with Great Fleet. He took a fierce hold here over 3 miles at the October meeting. Was still tanking along in the straight before those exertions took the toll. He was 3 lengths second to Conman John, 13 lengths clear of the others. I think that form looks decent, and he's dropped back to 2 mile 5. He'll hopefully use his energy more efficiently here. If he does, I think he'll be the value at around 11.0.
Someone agrees with you as well. MCB says stats say take on the Irish trainers. Stick with No Drama This End. I'm not taking on the Irish trainers. I am with John McConnell's horse, who's worth respecting when coming over this time of year to Cheltenham, and more than the champion bumper form. I just liked what he did at Listowel last time. I thought was very impressive. Jumped well and has had a run. So I'd much rather side with him than No Drama This End. And then if you add in the champion bumper form, I know Matt's questioning the form. I think he's a standout for right now, not necessarily for this division as we progress through it, but for right now, I thought 3.5 was fair enough. So I'm with the favourite. Then our 4 o'clock, it's just you, Steve. Matt and I are sitting this out, 2 mile handicap hurdle.
Yeah, I thought French Emperor was interesting for Nicky Martin, who's a trainer who does very well with a small team, and her horses are in really good form at the moment. Well, it couldn't be in better form because she's had 4 runners since the summer break, and they've all won, including French Emperor, who won 3 weeks ago at Worcester, and that was on decent ground. But I don't think there's any reason to think that French Emperor won't go on much softer. And just thought the way that horse travelled through that race was very impressive, and I think he's well handicapped. And the fact that he's only just been nudged up for that Worcester win £5, I thought he got away with that, especially given some of his novice form, especially his debut over hurdles when he was 3rd at Lingfield, and then next time it's Starcross, behind Starcross Lever, when 3rd at Windsor. Both those runs made him the potential to be well handicapped, and I think that's still the case. So French Emperor, I'm pretty strong on for a very informed team that might just go under the radar a little bit.
All right, that's Friday done. We come to Matchbook Zero Long Shot. I mean, I don't have one because all of mine are short. But Matt, yours is who?
Drill Deal, around 17.0 to 145, the Vets final.
Steve?
Well, it was French Emperor. I don't know what price at this moment in time. I haven't seen the prices, but I'm hoping it's about. Say again.
9.0.
Okay, yeah. Well, could be longer, couldn't it? But that's as good as it gets from me, I'm afraid.
Matt, you've got a best lay. I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, I do think that Hyde is pretty competitive, and at around 2.88, I think heads up's a little bit short. I might be looking at the place market as well. Quite a lot of good horses in that, I think.
I'd love it. I'd love it if he wins. You've got a good record though against me in these, which is concerning. Best
surprise.
Shut up. Best bets. £5 money back as a best bet. Treble, stick a fiver on these three. If it cops, then happy days. If it doesn't, you get your money back. Simple as that. Mine's Fugitive in the Vets. Matt.
Great Fleet in the Hyde at 3.30.
Steve.
Leave of Absence, which is the 2.20.
It is. Cheltenham on Saturday then. Steve, I'll go over to you first of all. A couple of bets you've got, including one in the big one.
Yeah, I think, again, another informed team. I haven't done this on purpose, just going for informed trainers. But Sam Thomas has got his horses in great form. And I think Vincenzo is the absolutely perfect type for the big race. This is a horse who is a second season chaser who did particularly well last season, was very consistent, and was second in I think that was on New Year's Day at Cheltenham in a 3-runner race. So he's had a run round there when he made the running behind Caliph de Burley. And I don't think that was ideal. I think he'd be much better just get a lead through the early votes. I think soft ground's ideal and a fast pace. And I think we're going to see a very progressive horse win the big race in Vincenzo for Sam Thomas.
Agree with that. Did you do Stencil, Steve? I was reading comments.
Stencil. I think Stencil's a big price. Now, it is a massive weekend. It's the big pre-Christmas or the autumn. It's the kind of culmination of the autumn season in France at Auteuil this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So it's interesting that Noel George and Amanda Zetterholm have sent Stencil over, who was fancied for the Fred Winter last season, but I never really saw him as a hurdler, to be honest. He's a great big horse who was bought by JP McManus after winning on his debut. And I just think that going over fences is going to be the making of this horse, who it's interesting that they're going first time over fences as a 4-year-old at Cheltenham. And he's going to be a big price against the likes of July Flower and Burdett Road and some others. But one thing you can guarantee that he will jump really well. He's built for fences. If you're a bit worried about 4-year-olds jumping fences in Britain, well, there's 3-year-olds jumping around Auteuil, the great big fences around there. The likes of Nador and Metronomique, who Noel George and Amanda Zetterholm have been winning around there. And Stencil, I just think is going to be ignored, but by the fact that he was disappointing when he was in Britain the last time we saw him. He went off favourite for the Fred Winter, but I'd never thought he was that sort of horse. Now he's over fences. I think we'll see a different horse.
I agree with you on Vincenzo, so I'll come in there. The yard are in fantastic. It got good course form, and I thought was just about fair enough price, really. I think around about 8.0. I also like Classic King in the preceding race, the 255, Harry Cobden and Emma Lavelle. I really think 3 miles is going to bring out the best in this horse. The ground is a bit of an unknown. That would be a slight concern. But otherwise, I like the way the horse is likely to be ridden. Nice patient ride over the 3 here. And the horse, I think, has just been crying out for a step up in distance for a yard that have made a decent start to the season. Chasing didn't really work out, but it's been pretty good and held some pretty good company over the intermediate trip over over hurdles, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on with that run under his belt last time. That was the first since the win was done as well. So second start after a win. 9.0. I'm going to back Classic King. Who else do you like on Saturday, Matt?
At the Navan Autumn Festival, the Lismullen hurdle, I'm looking forward to seeing the Yellow Clay if he lines up. We haven't got decks through for that yet. Under the Irish system, he carries the full £9 penalty for a Grade 1 win. There's no reduction for it being a novice race. So that would be against him here. It's an early season race in a tough division where the form often gets turned around later in the season. Whether he's going to be a betting proposition or not here, I'm not sure. He was odds against in the anti-post market, but we'll see what he is once the decks come through. But the Bingham form looks strong to me. And the other two, the New Lion favourite for the Champion Hurdle looks a bit short to me. Final Demand, short price favourite for the Broadway, looks fantastic prospect. And yet the Yellow K, who split them, and if the New Lion hadn't got such a quick leap at the last, might have even won, seems to be not quite a forgotten horse, but a little bit underestimated. So he's definitely one I'm going to be looking for as a possible stayers hurdle horse.
And in our horses to follow podcast, or our preview podcast, didn't Dom put that up? I think he did.
He did, yeah. I definitely agree with that.
All right, and then over to you on Sunday, another one at Navan, Matt. Who do you like there?
Yeah, this is my best bet of the weekend at this stage in the Troy Town at 2:32. Gordon Elliott's won 7 of the last 11 renewals. He has 10 of the 29 entries. None of them are shorter than 13.0. So there isn't a big height horse as yet. I'm sure one of them will get backed. The top weight is Better Days Ahead. He's going to run off 154, just £1 higher than Gordon's Cocoa Beach, one off a couple of years ago. The consensus is the Broadway form's weak, and so the horses from that are being opposed everywhere. That may be right. It didn't look a vintage renewal, but the form hasn't really been tested yet. And I think there is a bit of groupthink against those horses. You're talking about the jumpers to follow. I put Lecky Watson up as an underestimated horse in the stay and chase division. Better Days Ahead was beaten less than 5 lengths in third in the Broadway. And this testing ground, soft to heavy at Navan, very much in his favour. I think he's a decent chance of outclassing these, and 13.0 is worth an anti-post punt.
All right, I in the Greatwood am with Alan King's one of his two. I actually respect Helmwine as well. I think all in all, Alan, he's had a good start to the season, and after a disappointing year, ultimately last year, could have some nicely treated horses. This horse doesn't necessarily fit that bill because tried to keep graded company last year, having won at Ayr and Sandown on first couple of starts. Good form at Sandown as well. And then came a bit unstuck up in graded company, but still ran with a good bit of credit. I'm interested to see the horse in a handicap of 133 back over the 2 miles, but in a handicap, crucially, where they're likely to go a test. Handles a bit of cut to the ground as well, and 21.0 means they're going to back Castle Carrot. I like the profile of this horse first going to handicap in this sort of race. I think it could be a subsequent graded performer. Steve, you've got one in there as well.
Yeah, I'm really keen. Dan Skelton's got a few in the Greatwood, but by Sunday, the ground could be pretty awful with the racing in the big fields, especially on the hurdles course. And Knickerbocker Glory is a horse who absolutely loves deep ground. He's got an exceptional record when fresh. He's won, I think, the last 3 times, first time out of the season, and goes from the front. And 2 of the last 3 winners have been front runners of this race. And I think he might just get out the front and keep galloping and see them off. He's not a horse that's going to be particularly seen as well handicapped, but it might just be that coping with the conditions is far more important come Sunday. And if that's the case, I think 21.0 currently, obviously before declarations are out, I think Knickerbocker Glory is a cracking bet at that sort of price to be lined up.
There we go. That's our Cheltenham November Meeting preview. You can head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all those best bets. Whoever you are supporting this weekend, wish you all the best. Don't forget the best bet treble, a £5 money back if it doesn't cop, but if it does, you'll be in the money. Have a great weekend all. Bye-bye.